Hello again, everybody. Les East, Brian Allee-Walsh with NewOrleans.com. It's Friday out at Saints Camp, and Les, we've got a lot of news to report today, so let's get right at it. From a league office standpoint, the Saints free safety Malcolm Jenkins has been fined $10,000 by the league office for his unsportsmanlike conduct penalty Sunday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. As you recall, Malcolm was whistled for 2 infractions of 30 yards worth of penalties in the fourth quarter against the Buccaneers involving quarterback Josh Freeman. Apparently the fine was levied because of that he struck Freeman in the head. So that's $10,000 fine for Malcolm Jenkins. From an injury standpoint, the Saints filed their Friday report with the league office. Questionable for Sunday's game against Cleveland, linebacker Scott Shanley and cornerback Jabari Greer. Both will be game time decisions. They are expected to work out prior to the game Sunday, at which time Coach Sean Payton will make a determination. And also with free safety Darren Sharper, his status from the 21-day roster exemption list could possibly be determined as early as Saturday. If they do take him from the exemption list to the active roster, the 53-man roster, that decision must be made by 3 p.m. Saturday. We'll see what happens there. With regards to 3 other players who have been out for a while, Tracy Porter, Reggie Bush, and who's the third guy I'm thinking about?
Pierre Thomas.
Pierre Thomas. Reggie Bush, they're gearing Reggie to be back healthy and possibly on the field for the Pittsburgh Steelers game the night of October the 31st. Tracy Porter would be a week later against Carolina, November the 7th. And Sean Payton just said he's not going to speculate any further on the injury status of Pierre Thomas, which means that either it's been a setback or that they're just tired of dealing with as far as speculating on when Pierre's going to come back. So we'll monitor that as we go along. That is definitely probably a step backward, I would think, when it comes to Pierre. All right, Les East is joining me here with NewOrleans.com. Les attended today's Saints Hall of Fame luncheon at the Landmark Hotel. And Les, bring us up to snuff. What happened there?
Well, I think it was probably one of the most popular groups of honorees in the history of the Hall of Fame. The event was sold out, as it often is, but Joe Horn went in as the only player inducted this year, which seemed fitting because he was such a dominant presence during his career here, and Joe was really moved by the honor. He spoke rather briefly for Joe, but very eloquently, very humbly, and it was very touching, some of the things he had to say. He was surprised when Aaron Brooks showed up. Unexpectedly, Aaron chose to come in, but didn't want Joe to know. He wanted to surprise him, so Aaron showed up shortly before the luncheon began. They sat together on the dais and had a great time. And, of course, Aaron was responsible for throwing virtually all the passes that Joe caught while he was here, certainly the large majority of them. And then the Joe Gemelli Fleur-de-Lis Awards went, of course, to the longtime equipment managers Dan Simmons and Silky Powell, both of whom spoke quite eloquently about the careers they have had dating back to the early 70s. Tom Benson spoke briefly, spoke very eloquently about all 3 honorees. There were a dozen or so former players in the audience, including Morton Anderson, who was inducted last year, Stan Brock, who's in the Hall of Fame, Brad Edelman, several other players, some going back to the original Saints, including Wild Bill Cody, who was on that '67 team. Tom Dempsey was there as well. So it was a great class to be honored, and there was impressive turnout by the alumni, and I think it went very well, and it will continue throughout the weekend, and the fans can see Joe honored on the field at halftime of Sunday's game, which I believe is the 776th game of Dan Simmons' NFL career.
Wow, that's incredible. And of course, our own Kenny Trahan served as MC for today's luncheon, and I'm sure he did a great job, as he always does. Les, you're going to file a post on the goings-on at the luncheon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll have a story on the festivities and the honorees, and we'll also have video of the event up on the website today. And it's a weekend-long celebration, and we'll have probably more thorough coverage on our website than any other media outlet in the city.
Great. And I'll also have a talk with Mike Bell, the former Saints running back now with the Cleveland Browns, and he discussed his departure from the Saints last offseason, and he's got some interesting things to say, and also injury updates throughout this today and tomorrow. And of course, we'll stay tuned and let you know whether or not Darren Sharper is going to be up for Sunday's game against the Browns. So for Les East, I am Brian Allee-Walsh with NewOrleans.com. Aloha, everyone.